This is Kathy Van Zeffen. All my clients must determine what form of estate planning will best suit their needs. Here, Denise shares her family's decision process on what she felt would best serve her family the most.
We recently retired from Louisiana and we retired here in the state of Mississippi. I kind of always thought you had to be really wealthy to make a will or plan your estate. That's not true. It's very important to have a will. Your family knows what to expect. You get a say-so in how you want things to go when you are gone.
So I've had clients ask me how much money you have to need a trust. And I tell them it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's based upon whether or not a trust would benefit you.
My dad has a trust. He decided a trust was best for him. He was remarried, and his wife had children. He has children, and they decided that for them, the trust would work. They could decide exactly which child would be getting certain assets when they were both gone. So for some people, a trust is more sufficient. For us, we chose a will.
Due to the location of being so close to Louisiana, many of my clients have property both in Louisiana and Mississippi, and a trust would benefit them because they wouldn't have to probate for the real property in two states after they die.
So it's very confusing to decide whether you want to do a trust or a will, and having someone to speak with about it to help clear the differences of why it's important to have a trust or why it would be important to have a will, and the differences in both. Then you can decide what best will benefit your family.
Another reason why a trust may benefit you is if you have a marriage in which you have married again a second time or third time, and you have children by a prior marriage, and your spouse has children by a prior marriage. With a trust, each of you can specify specifically which assets you want to go to a specific place. I often encourage my clients to plan early and do an estate plan as early as possible, because you never know what life will bring, and you certainly need to do it while you are legally competent and can make the decisions for yourself as to what you want to have happen with your assets and your estate when you pass away.
No, to have a health care directive was something my mother-in-law had, which we were very thankful for when it came to caring for her in her 90s when she became sick from time to time. It's hard to say what'll happen tomorrow or next week. So it is something we're thinking about and something that we need to plan for, so that when the time comes for us and we're no longer able to make decisions for ourselves, for our care of our health, that we know and we can be confident to know that the people who are caring for us will do exactly what we want them to do.
As a child of an elderly father, I know how hard it is when you have to care for an elderly parent as their health begins to decline. One thing that was invaluable to me was that my father had made a health care directive which stated his wishes in the end when he could no longer speak for himself and state what he wanted, because that is the hardest decision a child will have to make for a parent, and it's really helpful to know what their wishes are.
When my mother-in-law passed away, it was so hard for us. It was so confusing. Everything was overwhelming. And it was so helpful that her will was going to allow us to do things the way she wanted. And now that it's over and things are taken care of, we're so very thankful. It has eased our mind. It has taken away all that anxiety.
It's inevitable that at some point you or your loved ones are going to have to deal with what happens with you and your assets. So it's very helpful, especially to your family, because everyone will have something they will leave behind. This is Kathy Brown Van Zeffen with COASTWIDE Law. Please call us today to help you make an estate plan to make things easier for you and your family.